Okay, you're on.
How about
Red light.
down like you had the other day?
I will.
Well, to get back to the story, I was reliving.
Put a lid on it.
No, he's telling you the story.
Yep.
The thing is,
Yeah, that's right. Shoot it at Grandma every time she talks.
For the 12 gauge.
Jesus, she knows how to shut me up.
The story. That's what.
Right. How you guys got to Racine from here?
Well, I went to school down at Hayes College
From
from Utica. And this was in 1932 and 3. And I got through that first year all right, but the second year I ran out of money.
Tell him what you did.
Oh, goodness sakes, I played in the dance hall.
What was the name of the band? Do you remember?
We didn't even have a name.
Didn't have a name.
No. Most money we ever made, we made $8 a piece one night.
Depression days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the time, we got home at about 6 in the morning, and I'd grab a couple of aspirin and eat a cup of, or drink a cup of coffee and shoot off to class and sleep. So I was not too successful in my college days. Well gathered. But from when we ran out of money, when I ran out of money, went to Kansas City, worked got a job in the old Engelman cafeteria, and for my meals, got a job later at the what was the name of that hotel, Ruth?
Buckingham.
The Buckingham Hotel, and worked on the switchboard for the room. The room was right over the hot water heater for the whole building. No, it got so hot in the summertime.
Oh gosh, I bet.
Sun was good. And
With his roommate,
decided I would go to business college and take up
Maryland.
stenotype for court reporting. And one night.
You did so.
Yeah, I did so. Oh, that's right. And went down to, well, I went several places to interview, but in Massey Harris, by the old boy.
You forgot to tell him we got married.
Yeah, we did.
When was that?
We did.
Where did that fit in?
While he was going to school and working in the hotel, a couple of kids from Western Kansas were, the boy was his roommate, one of the men who he was in the dance band with, and more or less grew up with. And I roomed with, he wanted me to come down about then, and I did, and worked on the switchboard, and roomed with this boy's sister. And
Names?
Wanda and Merle Wheatcroft. And what was the date? We
Those
were
were friends you got
1936. We were married. They were
Friends.
indicted. Then we were married in 1936. Then, after we'd been married a while, and I got pregnant, and you had to go look for a job. That's what happened.
Oh, yeah, I got.
But you didn't say how you supported yourself.
I worked at a restaurant for my meals, for one meal a day, and I worked in a tap room for more or less tips and so on for whatever small amount of spending.
Tap room is like a bar.
Uh-huh.
Who scrubbed floors?
It was a little local.
And with that?
Scrub floors in Engelman's cafeteria.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I had 2 jobs there. At Engelman's and one at the hotel. And I went to school in the evenings from 5 till 8 or 9 or something.
I don't-
And then I went over and scrubbed floors and got that out of the way. Went home, went to the hotel.
Anyway, it became necessary for him to find a job.
Wait, what did you do on the weekends for entertainment?
Oh goodness, you could ride the streetcar all over town.
No, she means Camp Calloway and the shows that you could go to
Oh.
at the quarter.
Yeah, you could go to the Main Street Theater before 1 o'clock for a quarter. And we saw the Mills Brothers and Cab Calloway.
Wow.
Oh,
Duke
goodness.
Ellington?
Yeah, Duke
Big
Ellington.
Spiderbeck or was
No, Vic's, I think, had passed away with that.
he was just a favorite?
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
That was before I
quarter.
went down there.
That's,
And you could stay there all day if you
That's
wanted
great.
to, you know, well, as long as you got in there.
that's great.
They had
And,
dances.
yeah,
Yeah.
People go to dances.
Oh,
But you rode the streetcars too? Is that?
See, you bought a pass for $1 a week.
I don't know.
Seems to me that's what it was. And you could ride that all for the entire week if you wanted to. Just get on the car and stay there.
Okay, tell them about getting the job at Nancy Harris.
Oh, yeah. Went down to,
I didn't say anything great.
got this interview with this old boy. And he gave me dictated a letter just full of terms with which I was already familiar, you know, like combines and tractors and so on. So I just breezed through that. He was very highly impressed.
you're familiar because of living out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he said, well, I can't give you anything right now, maybe later. So I literally hounded him to death. I went back every week, you know,
Mhm.
until finally he gave up and just gave me a job. He said, okay, you can go to work as a biller on the Moons Hopkins billing machine.
As
And
go to work as what?
as a biller.
As a
on
biller. Oh.
the Moons Hopkins billing machine. It was like a typewriter, but it carried the extensions. For instance, you might have 9 number 8503 parts in the description of them at so much per part, and it would multiply,
I see.
would extend, and carry the total down to the bottom of the page.
We're taking inventory. in other words.
No, nothing this deal.
Okay.
Inventory we took on the old Moons Hopkins. No, on the what were those cards called?
That isn't really.
No, but they were cards used. Hollerath cards.
Right.
Greg knows what I mean. And there were several girls and boys wrote out these things. It would give the part number and the quantity on the card, Hollerath card. And then it would be reprinted by another machine. It was the closest thing at that time to, well, in fact, it was a forerunner of the computer setup. And
He made $60 a month.
yeah,
Wow.
And
Big one.
when I had to quit work, the switchboard, I was running the switchboard in the meantime for our room, and I was still working for my meals. And when I had to quit work, then we had to find an apartment. So we found a little apartment in this bad part of town.
This is in Racine?
No, this
No,
was in Omaha. This was in
Oh,
Kansas
in
City.
Kansas City. Okay.
$25 a month, and I think we had $5 a month to spend on groceries. And Plymouth's fare, and that was about
$5 a month? Groceries?
You could buy.
a week. Yeah. And hamburger was 25 cents a pound.
Mhm.
And
Tomatoes, I believe, were 2 cans for a quarter.
I don't know, but anyway, and then this branch opened up in Omaha, Nebraska, and they transferred Kermit to Omaha.
That's the cashier.
Mhm. And Kermit was, that was in January. And then in February, we found another furnished apartment, sheets and everything in it, because we didn't have any, for $35 a month. And in a month, lo and behold, we had twins.
Oh, God.
Mhm.
You didn't expect one.
In Omaha. Oh, you didn't? Oh, man.
No,
See, we were married in January. The twins were born in February.
a year later.
Ruined my story.
We didn't want that recorded.
Oh, so it is true then.
No, it is not. And so we paid $35 a month rent furnished. We had to buy a refrigerator to keep the milk in, 2 quarts a day, and make payments
For
on
those kids.
it. And orange juice and cod liver oil we gave them in those days.
Hot. God.
And
Oh, yeah.
still the $5 a week for our groceries, but we had to buy 2 quarts of milk a day. And I think they were like 13 cents a quart.
Mm.
And what were you making then? 75 or something?
Well, when we moved up there, I wrote back to Kansas City and I said, we can't find any place that doesn't have a pimp on one side and a prostitute on the other. And they got
For
to
the
have
money
more
we had to
Yeah.
pay.
Mm-hmm.
So
He gave them
we
a
got more
money. And then in what?
Oh, yeah, I'd have kept that coffee that blacker.
Jack and Jane were about 3, I think, when we Kermit got clear up to $100 with it.
Well, that was in Racine.
No, when we rented our house in Omaha, down in Florence.
Oh. Yeah.
But see, that was a month,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what wages were like at that time. Of course, that's all you had was place to live and food and transportation.
No
Did you have a car?
Didn't have a car for, I don't know, many years.
Then after the war
1947.
started, Kermit was transferred to Racine, Wisconsin, which is the head office of Massey Harris. And he was in the accounting department there. And as usual, that's what he was doing.
Mhm.
And they wrote and kept, the boss did, to keep Kermit out of service because he was in essential industry, because Massey Harris manufactured tanks in Racine.
Mhm.
And then he was making 100 and a quarter, I'm sure. And he went up a little.
So
That's
you
how we got to Racine.
So
I see.
what year did you move to Race?
About 34.
Did what?
When we
Moved to Racine from Omaha. You were in Omaha in
Oh,
37.
no, it'd been,
Later than that.
Jack and Jean were 6 years old, were 5 years old, just ready to
42.
start school,
42. Yeah.
kindergarten.
You were in Omaha then about 5 years, about 5 years in Racine.
It was 6 years in Racine, I think.
And you'd gone as far as you could there.
Don was born in Racine.
Mhm.
He was 2 years old when we moved out here.
What do you remember about Racine?
Beautiful,
Yeah,
right on
the
the lake.
thing I remember most was the lake, of course, Lake Michigan. And then the next thing I remember most was the toboggan slide in wintertime.
And Jack and Jean learned to swim right in Lake Michigan. There was a little beach just 2 blocks from one of our place we lived.
I always remember the story about the fire on the beach and Mom almost fell into the
Yeah.
fire.
She did fall in the
Did fall
Her hand did.
Uh-huh.
And one time Jack came
You
home
remember
just
that?
hauling his head off from the park. And his sled, he'd gone down a hill and his sled had gone over and broken through the ice.
Oh, God.
And he was able to get out of it because it wasn't very deep, a couple of feet maybe. And he just bawling his head off because he thought that sled was gone for good.
It was his first sled and he didn't want to lose it. It was about 2 feet long. He got it when he was, it was maybe 3 years old,
Yeah.
you know, we bought one of them. Herman had to go down and fish his sled out.
Yeah, I remember you've always talked about, was it the Hills in Racine?
Still,
Still,
Mhm.
yeah, that was,
Hills in Denver.
Hills in Denver.
Yeah.
And the Stills were, he was a doctor? Or am
no,
I
That
thinking of
was
someone
Dr.
else?
her father.
Boy.
No, I'm thinking of somebody else.
Dr.
Boy.
Dr.
Oh,
Helena.
yeah.
I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, they lived above us, still lives next to us on
Oh,
College
Still.
Avenue.
He had a shoe store.
Oh, I don't- Still thinking of someone else. But anyway, Stills were good friends. I've heard you talk about them
Yeah.
a lot.
Well,
All
we were
good.
friends with
We didn't have
neighbors,
any money, you know, of course. And on Friday nights, they'd take us out to a beer joint where they had beer and those little fish.
too.
Uh,
I don't know the name of them.
Kippers? Kippers?
no, no, out of Lake Michigan. Smelt. Well,
Also, they took us to Chicago to see The Voice of the Turtle.
Voice of the Turtle, what was that?
Well, it was a stage play that was very well known the first time. And the Glass Menagerie
Uh-huh.
on stage, first time it was shown.
Wow.
I can't think of that operetta that we saw in Milwaukee.
Well, we saw a couple of them,
Yeah.
but they were musicals of one was Foster, wasn't it? Life of Hit Foster, Stephen Foster. I don't remember. Anyway, we had good neighbors. They
Oh
were
boy,
really good
I'll tell
neighbors.
you, the first Christmas we were there, they just brought down bushel baskets full of presents. And I mean bushel baskets.
Yeah.
Story's over, Greg. Nothing more interesting here. Please write it now.
Yeah, she was, Mrs. Nieder was the head of the radiology department. She went from that hospital to, what was that hospital that she went to?
Was this Racine too?
Yeah,
Yeah, to
Chicago.
Chicago.
Well, did they live near you? Was that it?
They lived right above us.
The Stills, where do they live?
Just right next to us.
Okay. Okay.
Housing was scarce at that time in Racine. And
Well, we wouldn't have got any if it hadn't been for my boss. He's the guy who,
we wouldn't have found a place to live. We had to pay $35. And that was almost more than we could afford. But it was only place. And these people were more well-to-do than we would normally afford a neighborhood, you know. And that's the reason we were there. And they were so good to us. Did so many things for us.
Mhm.
Kurt worked, sold shoes on Saturday afternoon for Still.
Origins of the dry goods.
Right.
well, I learned how to fit a shoe too.
Where you sold them for just with an independent company or what?
No, worked at Still's shoe store.
Oh, they have issues.
Yeah.
And the way we went into the store, we couldn't have done it without borrowing money from my dad.
Mhm.
That's where we got the money to buy our share of the store.
And Ross had done well during the war, was that it?
Yes, the farmers at that time did very well. The price was good, and they'd had good years of rain,
Good news.
and all farmers made money in
Right.
those years. That's when my dad first began to accumulate something, you know.
Did he have dairy cows or corn?
Did
And
I?
we,
Oh, wheat.
Wait,
Oh,
Joe had dairy cows.
okay. Didn't Joe have corn also
well,
though?
he raised his own feed.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm.
Yeah, it was
Silo,
Indian
Islay.
corn.
Oh, okay.
Islay. Well, corn too.
Yeah, some point.
He put it in his, for instance.
Well, how did your mother come and get into the dry goods business? What was
Well,
the
my dad,
origin of that?
my dad passed away out of Falmouth, Colorado
In-
in, oh goodness,
1937.
yeah, you're the twins before.
What?
When my dad passed away.
Oh, a couple of months before.
Yeah. So it was either 37 or 36, one of the two. But at any rate, she took, he had, I think, a couple $1,000 worth of life insurance. And she bought a little dress shop in Falmouth. Huh?
10,000.
Oh, surely not.
Pretty good in here.
You say so. And
Something.
so,
Had she known anything about the business? She just decided that that would be the way to
yeah.
make a living.
And she was very unsuccessful. So the salesman talked her into buying a general store at Tribune, which she did. I'll never forget her telling about the straw hats. There was a Jewish man, Simon Fishman, and he watched over her buying, and especially on the straw hats. And he kept telling her to buy more. She thought he was absolutely crazy. And he said, no, you're going to need more. And so she'd buy some more. When that isn't enough, you got to have some more. And said she went home that night and she just sweat blood because she's afraid she spent all her money on straw hats. But in those days, the combines came through, and those guys were just absolutely crazy in the way they spent money. They were.
Well,
And they all wanted straw hats.
there was no place to wash clothes. And they had, so if they wanted to change their clothes, they had to buy new ones. If it rained, you just were really busy. But Kermit's mother had spent her life as a housewife. She had never done anything else. So when you consider she went from that into running a store
Pretty amazing.
successfully, and there again during the war, it was easy to make money. So anyway, the boys didn't want to, Ken and Keith didn't want to go into the store business. And Kermit thought that he would like to be in business for himself. So, and my dad thought, had always helped my brothers. So he thought, well, maybe it's time we did something, And so he loaned money to Kermit.
To start the store here.
Uh-huh.
Why did you settle on Sharon Springs per se?
Because there was a store for sale.
Oh, that's what you said, yeah.
And I knew this end of the country.
Yeah.
Margaret.
Huh.
Did she run it?
Yeah, of course, he went from there too. Floyd did.
Did he? That was before he was in the bank.
No, he
No,
was
he was in the
In
bank,
the bank.
but in the evenings he would come over and help out in the store. And
on Saturdays, you opened up at 8 and you closed at 9 at night or 10.
Really? You were
and
that busy?
whenever the show was over,
I can remember that.
Because that's when
Jeannie and I were
yeah.
courting,
yeah,
coming over, you guys would still be working.
And the farmers come to town and eat supper and go to the show and shop late at night after they're through with their farm work. So in order to get your share of the business, you stayed open. They had good business.
Really?
On Saturday night. Outside that, it was 8 to 6, wasn't it? I didn't work for the first 4 years till Dawn got in school. I stayed home, and then I started working. I started working regular at the store when Jean Ralph got married.
Oh, you weren't working regularly until then?
No.
Oh, I thought you had been.
Not really.
Part-time.
Just sometimes.
Don was born in 48.
6.
46.
no, you're wrong. 45. Because you were born in 37. Don was born 8 years after.
Almost no.
His birthday.
Yes, it was.
Get the book.
Right up there. Just open that door.
Anyway, November 45 from February 37.
Right above your hand. You
Nobody
had to
can,
turn around the kids
everybody
on the
can
door.
tell stories of being poor about those days.
Well, what are some stories of being poor? Well, you weren't so.
November 2nd, 1945.
All right.
You were poor. Everyone was.
Everyone was poor, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wasn't nearly as you didn't think about it as much. Everybody was in the same boat.
Now I expect the poorest. The story about the more hardship was my brother Gerald's.
Yeah.
And trying to feed 4 little kids. Finally went to California, like the Okies.
Oh, yeah.
And
Is that how they went? They loaded everything up on a truck and
in
drove out?
in my dad's car, and went to California. Went to work in the beet fields for $1 an hour, and he always stayed in. Well, he harvested beets for a long time, and he hoed beets for not $1 an hour, $1 a day. It's the way he. When they first went.
Yeah, $1 an hour seems like a lot.
And today he's a multi-millionaire. so there's just okay.
The American way.
Yeah,
Well, hard work all the time.
yeah, darn right. That's what he did. Keep your nose to the grindstone. Still in farming. Still in. Started out farming for the beet company, and that's how I got started.
What do you think were high points or low points of dry goods business?
Oh, I think the highest point was right when the prices took that big jump in what year?
I guess I was thinking, what do you like? What do you like most about it, and least about it? And the personal side of it.
Personal side of it was Christmas time when you were helping people pick out gifts.
I bet that was fun. Yeah.
You like the shoe end of it, didn't you?
Yeah, but sure bought 2 heavy lemon shoes, guys.
I like buying. I like buying. I like selling.
Yeah.
I hated bookwork.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it.
I like working with people,
Mm-hmm.
but I like buying real well.
I like the story
Picking up
Don put into the
Oh, yeah.
family. Did you remember that?
I read it. I can't remember the story
You
about it.
guys related. It's about Ruth picking out
Oh,
dresses of hilts.
yeah.
So-
This is for
Right.
Eileen Hoover.
Right. This is for Betty Swanson.
Yeah.
I did.
That's great.
I picked out the better dresses that way that I wouldn't normally sell
Yeah.
for the people who I knew their taste and
Uh-huh.
they depended on me to bring them something.
Well, Celia Douglas
And
used to.
it almost well, Marion did. A lot of people did.
I remember the trips to. I even remember the trips to Denver to market.
Yeah.
I remember 1 or 2 trips.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was
Because I usually got an outfit. That's why I
Yeah.
remember.
Great adventure.
to go to Joe Awful Coffees and
Yeah.
walk over there on 7th. That
I
was
don't remember
big
that.
time stuff.
I don't remember that.
He'd go around, Joe Awful Coffee, he'd go around singing top of his voice to everybody.
Who's Joe
I
off
missed
the
that.
cuff?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who was that? Joe off the
He was
cuff.
the owner of a restaurant. And that was what we
Joe Coffey was his actual name. The awful.
Oh, I didn't know.
Joe Awful Coffee. Oh,
He had pictures on the walls of prize fighters and movie stars that had been to the restaurant. It was pretty well known watering place.
This was the restaurant that you go to
Huh?
before you went to
Other than
Hills, you mean?
Well, it was just a place
Part
that
of the
wasn't
whole-
too far from the wholesale district.
I
And we
see.
would walk over there and maybe have lunch.
Blocking.
Oh, they changed this.
It seemed like
Yeah.
Hills did, always did.
Yeah.
Never a time they greet you like their best friend. And you go back and have coffee with the people in the office, and they take you to lunch. And they treated you.
Wine and dine you.
One time we came, I looked in the president's office, old Isidore Still, or Isidore Hill's office, and here was a whole bunch of Indians in a circle. They had on their hats and on, they were all smoking a big cigar, and he was passing drinks around to them, and they would come in about every 3 months or 6 months, I've forgotten. which
I
it is.
don't know.
And they would buy for the reservation.
Really?
Oh, it was quite a,
Were they from Five Corners?
I don't know where they
Or
were.
Five Corners or whatever?
I corners, I think.
But Hills used to extend credit in bad
Yeah,
Oh, you bet.
times.
They kept us going lots of
Yeah.
times. Dad was the best juggler you ever saw. He wasn't a bookkeeper for nothing.
but-
Juggler figures, you mean?
It was a lot of fun. All the grandkids had fun, good memories of Hilbin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Every one of them. And
I
it
think
was, the buying was lots of fun.
Mhm.
It really was.
I remember getting, I think it was from Hills, this coat one time that I really loved. Like fur cuffs
Had
and
to be.
fur hood.
Yeah.
It was really great.
But we weren't sorry to get out.
No,
No, well, it was time.
We
quite a
had
few
it.
years.
How many years?
Oh, we were in the store at least 30 years.
35
Wow.
was the
Let's see, we went in January 1st of 48. Well, that's
180.
1, 8, we returned back in March 16th, I think it was. 80. So that's 32 years. 2 months and 15 days.
We almost split.
It's a long time.
Sure is to be on your feet. Do your washing on what we call the weekends, which was Sunday.
Oh, yeah,
You
you
work
worked 6 days.
hours, 6 days a week.
But I can't for the life of me remember what year it was that prices, everything tripled. And some things more than that.
Well, when the biggest change for us was when we moved from downtown to uptown. And at that
Yeah.
time, the county was raising revenue.
Was doing what?
The county just had put in the beats, and we had the migrant laborers coming in,
Oh, and they were
and
good.
we had good business. I tell you, that made all the difference in the world to us, was the beats in the county and the migrant laborers.
Hmm.
We made money in those years.
This is in the, must have been in the 60s, 50s and 60s.
I'd say
That's
que
60.
cintura, pantalones,
What is that? Something pants size?
waist,
Oh, the waist. Yeah, yeah.
cintura. And, oh goodness, underwear was, can't even remember stocks.
Camisa?
Camisa. Sí.
We had,
Camisa, camiseta. Camiseta.
there were lots
Little shirt.
of
The undershirt.
Mexican workers. I was trying to think the name for the Mexican workers.
Illegals?
Some of them were illegals, some of them were legals. who came over, and they were the ones that didn't speak much English.
You mean Barrios?
Huh?
Barrios?
No, I don't think so.
Bar.
No, that isn't it. That's town, isn't it? District.
District, I guess.
At Trabajo or something.
Oh, yeah, workers. Uh,
Anyway,
you were down there how long? 6
6
months?
months.
they
Yeah.
bought lots of things to send home. And just business in general. Well, the local people were in the chips at that
Yeah.
time too. And we had lots of business going into business, remember?
Mm.
A lot of people going into new businesses. Chuck was really going good.
I remember it. You're putting back a coat. It's a fairly expensive coat. I think it was $30 for one of the migrant workers. It's I don't know when it was, summertime maybe, and the migrant worker, being a migrant worker, was moving all over, going up to Nebraska and so forth. And he paid on this coat. Was buying it for his wife. Paid on this coat. I think probably for a year. Would send a couple dollars back a month, and then he came the next summer and he picked it up, and took it back. But
We had every right to put that back on the
oh yeah, I didn't think
hang
it was,
it out.
didn't
you
think
know,
it was
so-
very many people who would keep it back, hold it back for a year for
But
somebody.
that sure meant a lot to those people
Yeah,
when you did that for them.
yeah.
Yeah, we did that quite a lot. And you never give credit because they just aren't that reliable.
What were the downsides of
But
it?
we had one person who we always gave credit to, one Mexican woman and her parents. Every spring they'd come in for straw hats and we'd give them credit.
Hard work.
Long hours and hard work.
People did. Right?
Well, we
It's the
didn't have
hardest.
too much trouble with credit.
Yeah.
I think we were in business 32 years and we lost how much? About $500.
That's good.
It sure was much more than
Lost a lot more than that in the last 2 years.
Who has?
I have.
Oh,
well,
is that?
sometimes you didn't get paid for a number of years.
Yeah, lost.
We had kids go into the service owing us a bill who would pay it when they came out. And things like that,
4 years later.
Yeah. But they would come in and pay it when they got back. One of the Garcia boys, Louis, left town under duress, and he must have been gone 10 years. When he came back, do you remember Louis Garcia, the oldest one?
No, I don't remember. I remember the name of all.
And when he came back to town, he paid that bill. He didn't dare come back before that, I guess. That was an amazing thing. But he came in and paid it too, and bought some more things for us.
I think his wife had something to do with that.
Oh, I think he did it too. We got along pretty well, and he wanted to buy some things, so he paid his bill first. I thought that was nice.
Did you move into the house here when you first came to
Mhm.
Sharon?
I think so,
You
yeah.
hadn't lived anywhere else.
Well, yeah, we moved to Tribune with and lived with Herbert's mother for a while because we couldn't find anything here.
Mhm.
And actually, she bought this house, and we all lived here until she moved. She built her house, and we bought this from her.
Mhm. Have you added on to this, or has it just been? It was just been
Seems to
remodeled.
be a bedroom.
This was a bed. This was Jean's bed,
Mhm.
and that was living room was right up, or dining room was right out there.
It's
That
part of
bay,
the
kind of
living
bay
room,
window
yeah.
was where the table was.
Mhm.
You remember that?
Mhm.
too?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I remember
The
probably
wall's
from
right up
pictures.
there.
Yeah, we have pictures.
We
We have pictures of it, of the living room.
Seabiscuit used to hang in this room.
No, it wasn't Seabiscuit.
Yeah.
No,
What'd she say?
no, it wasn't Seabiscuit.
Seabiscuit, a horse.
The racehorse.
What about it?
It used to hang in this room.
Oh, Man of War.
Man of War.
There's a difference.
One of the first of the
We
greats,
both
wasn't it, in U.S.?
We were both great. Most of
Yeah.
Yeah. I gave that not
You
too long
remember
ago
such-
to a ranch family, you know, the kid wanted it. When I was cleaning out some stuff. I suppose now you wanted that picture.
No, no.
Actually, it was a calendar picture. that
Was
we
it?
framed,
Huh.
Student dishes, Jenny.
Yep.
That's gonna be a
Move
long,
around.
boring thing, Greg. Can you edit those?
We'll just have to see.
Let's hope so.